Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Even before its launch, Friday the 13th, the game has been marred with issues, setbacks, controversies, and now it seems broken promises as well. In spite of the game's massive success both on Kickstarter and in sales, the small team that set out to create the game based on an iconic horror movie classic has been met with an endless wave of difficulties, some seemingly unavoidable and others that many would argue are their own fault. The game was released seemingly less than half finished on May 26th of this year, lacking several key features that one would expect from a multiplayer title. What content that is there is still an extremely buggy mess on PC and on both Xbox and PS4 versions of the game as well. Mix that in with a general lack of features that many would think are required within this day and age, the multiplayer component of the game lacks any method whatsoever of dealing with hackers, cheaters, griefers, or any other sort of nonsense outside of a full ban from the game. As a result of these capabilities not being present, the developers have had to resort to requiring in-game video footage of any offense in which a ban is imposed, something that many community members have stated the developers have ignored in the past. In addition to that, the game is still very much being sold as a feature-complete game on Steam. No early access flag, no notice, no warning to consumers of any kind that the game could be considered to still be an alpha at this point in time, and before any die-hard fans of the game get upset, the reason why this game cannot be even considered in beta is because it's not feature complete. The single-player component of the game is still yet to come out, which leaves us with the game being an alpha, a buggy alpha at that. The fact of the matter is, the game should never have been released in the state that it is in even now, let alone the state that it was in at release. By virtue of their not warning consumers that the game is not complete is extremely dishonest behavior. Several components in the multiplayer have yet to be finished or implemented. The fact that they would even leave an IOU in place of a full one-half of their game, by which I mean the single-player component, is also exceptionally anti-consumer. If they had at least released into early access, then that would be forgivable to a certain extent. Then the customer is at least being warned that if they buy the game, they are purchasing a product that is very much in active development and is not feature complete. And in keeping with what is seeming to be a very real pattern with the developers of this game, it seems that they have not been following through on their Kickstarter backer rewards either. Jay, who backed the game at a price point of a staggering $500, emailed me with some links and outlined the issues he's had with his developers in the past, as he had waited patiently since November of 2015 for the promised Skype conferences to begin, which was supposed to be delivered in October of 2016, and to date, no effort whatsoever has been made to deliver on those promises. In the initial email that the developer Randy had sent to Jay, he'd stated that those backers would be part of regular Skype calls in order to provide ideas and feedback in regards to the game's development, something that a good deal of people would be interested in. The thought of having one of your ideas going into a game would be highly compelling for a good many people. However, Randy's response on May 24th, 2 days before the game's launch, basically stated that those backers would be player-based liaisons that will provide feedback on how to respond to feedback, exploits, balance issues, and others. Which, I'm sorry, having someone pay $500 to do your PR work for you is a night and day difference from being able to interact and help generate ideas for the course and the development of the game. Needless to say, here we are in July, and the promised backer rewards in this regard, as well as the physical copies, have yet to be delivered, and due to the games actually being out for sale, can never be met. Even though it is worth noting that the developers did provide Skype conferences, Q&A sessions, and behind-the-scenes information, just not to backers. No, they provided that perk to YouTubers and Twitch streamers like Charmin EX Soft Gaming and others, but not those that actually ponied up the funds to help make the game to begin with. Now, Jay did reach out to me, and I immediately hopped onto Discord with Praetorian, another member of Gun Media. He and I have spoken many times over recent days as I've been attempting to get to the bottom of the whole situation in regards to a recent ban where the developers accused the Steam user Dilly Dingus of sexually harassing a 12-year-old boy. In light of those events, I've been seeking some form of hard evidence of misconduct in order to at least be able to relate to people verbally that yes, they do have footage and yes, the developers are being truthful. But given the recent wave of DDoSing, death threats, doxing, and death threats leveraged against family members, those have very much hindered that process. But that's a story for another matter. So I spoke with Praetorian and they assured me they were working on an email response that they said they would include me on, which I in fact never did receive the email prior to the time that this video was recorded. However, as it was evident that the developers would be unable to deliver on promises made, I sought for and received assurance that a full refund would be offered Jay and any other Kickstarter backers who would wish to seek them, whose backer rewards would not be met. This is actually required by Kickstarter's terms of service, so I did not foresee that particular issue becoming a sticking point in any way. In fact, Jay has publicly stated that he did receive a refund, and that matter seems to be closed on his part with a positive resolution. But the larger issue here is that it never should have happened in the first place. And what's even worse is that the whole mess could have been avoided. Actually, a lot of the issues could have been avoided had IllFonic and Gun Media simply maintained proper communication. Had they spoken with their backers, if they'd maintained those open lines of communication, things would have actually gone a lot better for the developers. Even if you have one person interacting with the Skype calls once or twice a month, then that would have been plenty for most, and they would have come away happy. But what happened was the game's development fell behind, and the team felt the crunch of being behind schedule, and when that happens, it's very easy to think that there's simply not enough hours in the day. So as a result, the developers skipped some things. They cut corners where they could in order to help make up time, but at what cost? As a result, they have still come out late on the game that still has yet to be finished and is still in a very broken state. And their lack of communication has done nothing but engender the ire of those whose support they needed the most, their backers and their customers. And it's a shame, really. After the multiple voice chats I had with Praetorian on Sunday, as well as subsequent text chat, he has made himself available and is a very likable person in general. But in the end, I have to take the side of the consumer when there is a clear choice that needs to be made between the two. And given the state of the game, even months after launch, the general lack of communication, and now the clearly broken promises made to Kickstarter backers, I would have to say that if you're thinking about buying this game, don't. At this time, the developers have not done enough by far to earn your money or your support. As I said, I do like them. I really do, but they have made mistake after mistake and seem to not learn from those mistakes in order to prevent repeating history further down the line. Perhaps in time I can be persuaded to change my mind when it comes to this game, but for right now, that appears to be very far into the future, if ever. As always, please do let me know what you think down in the comments below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and it has reached the point where so many people have actually requested SidAlpha t-shirts, I have decided to oblige. For an indeterminate period of time, you can get your own SidAlpha t-shirt, sweater, or hoodie over at teespring.com/SidAlpha. Link is in the description below. Nothing says taking pride in something more than advertising it to the world and wearing it on your body, so get your very own SidAlpha OG logo shirt now.